Dr. Tim Durkin with the Base Medical Team. I'm here with my friend Alicia Hernandez, who's an experienced SAR K9 volunteer. We've done a lot of volunteer work together here in Southwest Colorado. She also serves on the board for La Plata County Search and Rescue. And this is her dog, Mia. And Alicia and Mia together have been very successful with search operations here in Southwest Colorado in the past few years since Mia became operational. So we're going to talk today a little bit about what's involved if you're interested in getting your dog, or perhaps you don't have a dog yet, but if you're interested in becoming a search and rescue canine handler, what would be involved with that? So Alicia, welcome. Thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me, Tim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome. So I think a lot of people don't really understand what's really involved with this. Can you talk a little bit about just the level of commitment and the time that it takes to really get a dog like Mia up to speed?
Sure. It is a lot of time and commitment. They estimate, I should say, like books and everything that you read, estimate around 2,000 hours before your dog becomes operational of training.
Wow, so that's a lot of time, and that's just directly training SAR skills with the dog.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there's multiple disciplines that you can work in and that you can focus on. And depending on the discipline or per discipline, it's about 2,000 hours of training before you become operational or before you can certify.
So tell me about some of the skills that you've had to acquire to really be effective in search and rescue as a canine handler.
Yeah, so really it starts off just my dedication to search and rescue in general, and to start out with search and rescue and to understand your navigational techniques and strategies, search strategies, everything that it takes to be a good, strong SAR member.
Yeah.
And so that's really where it starts, and you have to commit to that first and foremost, especially if you're going to be a wilderness search and rescue canine handler.
Sure.
Because it's obviously all the challenges that come along with that, in addition to having another life that you're responsible for while you're out there.
Yeah, so things like the map reading, GPS, talking on the radio, kind of how you work within the structure of the team,
yes.
All that stuff that we teach all the kind of general search and rescue volunteers.
Yeah.
Somebody who's going to be working with a canine element, they're going to need to have a strong foundation and all those things.
Absolutely.
As far as physical fitness, these dogs tend to be pretty energetic, and just to be able to physically handle the dog or to keep up with the dog in the field. Can you talk to us a little bit about what's involved with that?
Yeah, so obviously you're going to be out in the wilderness, in the terrain, going over logs, going through rivers, bouncing around in the trees and stuff. So physical fitness is important. And then also, like I was saying earlier, to be responsible for the life of your dog. So being able to handle the dog if they get in sketchy situations where you're crossing a log and maybe they fall, you have to be able to lift your dog out of a situation, or so it is important to be able to handle the dog and be physically fit to carry them if you need to.
Additionally, like most folks probably take some kind of medical training. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's important to have first aid, CPR, stuff like that. We also focus on the wilderness first aid or wilderness first responders. So all of the handlers have that kind of training as well, because in the event that we're out there, it's not unlikely that we're going to be the first ones to make the find. So we have to make sure that we can do that assessment.
Yeah, we've certainly seen that with you and Mia on more than a couple occasions. So being prepared that if you are successful and you're able to find that person, that you're able to manage that situation. Does everybody who is interested in being a canine handler, do they need to be a technical rock climber? Do they need to be proficient in rock rescue and rope stuff and things like that? Or
I wouldn't say necessarily no. It doesn't hurt, because there are times where you and the dog might have to be lowered down into a situation or pulled out of a situation, Yeah. So I think having a little bit of experience from a rock climbing standpoint or a technical rope rescue standpoint helps. It's certainly not a requirement or anything like that. And something that you can avoid and stay away from if you really need to.
Can you give us a sense of what a typical canine handler might invest in equipment for themselves and their dog?
All
over the place, probably. Yeah.
I can't, because you lose track of it. It's definitely in the thousands of dollars range.
Okay. Yeah, quite a bit.
You know, starting with the harness, you know, you're looking at $160 for a good harness. We're actually currently looking into a harness right now that's $1,500. So
wow.
And it's got because it's got a Kevlar chest protector. So we've had dogs that have been injured running through the wilderness, and they get impaled by a branch or a stick or something like that. Out here, you know, there's old fencing and stuff like that impales
barbed wire
them.
stuff. Things,
so it's a super dangerous situation, which leads into the rest of the financials too, because it's not just about your health or the equipment or anything like that, but there's some heavy medical bills that could come from the dog standpoint as well.
Having a good veterinarian.
And the vet bills will definitely rack up as the dog starts becoming more operational. You know, it's just the nature of the work that we do.
So let's talk a little bit about the dog then, and you know, what are, I guess, you know, what's the right age to get a dog into this type of work, and what are some of the attributes we might look for in a dog to do this type of work?
Yeah, so this is probably the question that we get asked the most, as far as, you know, what does it take to have my dog become a SAR dog, or my dog is really great at finding the balls in the snow. And that's not necessarily everything that we're looking for. You know, the dog has to have incredible, uncontrollable drive, really. So the prey drive, the hunt drive, they want to chase something, they want to go after something, and they're not going to stop until they find it. And so, you know, with Mia in particular, she was about 2 years old, and I just happened to be talking to someone on our local SAR K9 team, and I was like, man, my dog, I can't get her to stop chasing the ball. I don't know what I'm going to do with her. And she just looked at me and she was like, what? How come we haven't tested this dog before? So we took her in and tested her, and sure enough, she's got the drive, she's got the energy. She's super calm right now. This actually is super calm for her, because we just got done training. So she's put in probably 10 miles already today. So, you know, they have to be agile and be able to jump over the logs and stuff that we talked about earlier, go up and down the gullies and the mountains and stuff. So certainly physically fit, and a dog that can have the stamina and the drive and the work ethic to just keep going. So yeah, if we were to throw a toy right now for Mia, she'd be perked up in a second if I pulled it out of my pocket. So you know, that's the thing with them, is they never stop, and all it takes is just that toy drive and the drive to go after something.
And I think you had told me once that you don't want to get a dog too involved in training until they're at a certain age where their kind of bones have matured enough. Is that true? Yeah.
So you know, you really want to be cognizant of the age of the dog and the fact that it's still growing and it's still developing, very similar to us. You know, as we grow and as they grow, their bones are developing, and they're certainly more prone to being injured if they're at a younger age. So in that first year to 2 years, absolutely we can be training them. There's exercises they can work on, but maybe not taking them on a 10-mile search or something like that. So we try to keep that till after they're 2 years old and they have stopped growing, they have stopped developing, and before we really start introducing them to those long, hard working searches.
Okay, so basically some exercises, some familiarization, but you got to get the dog to a certain point of physical maturity before we can really go harder in the field.
Yeah, and there's certainly plenty of like exercises and the training they can do to get the game down, you know, with the short exercises that are only going to be, 5 minutes or 100 yards or something like that.
Any other thoughts on kind of temperament for a working dog like this?
Yeah, so it's important that they like people.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're out there doing, is out there looking for people. So having a dog that's going to show up on somebody that's hiding behind a tree or somebody that's fallen in the woods and start barking at them or start growling at them is not conducive to the job. So we want a dog that's going to be great with people and friendly to all situations, but also able to manage a situation as well. So you don't know if you're going to come upon an individual who has mental health issues or something like that, and they might, or just being afraid of dogs. There's a lot of people that are afraid of dogs, and so they could be out in the woods lost, and they're already amped up and scared, and the dog shows up. They could start yelling at the dog, throwing sticks at the dog, stuff like that. So we want dogs that are going to ignore that, come back to the handler, tell us, and then take us to the individual. And that's what they do.
That's great insight. As somebody's wanting to learn more about dog training for search and rescue, are there particular kind of, I know there's several organizations or probably numerous organizations around the country that do training, or there's also books or things like that. We can put maybe some links to that.
Sure, I can send you some.
Info underneath the video here. Anything in particular that stands out to you as far as books or organizations, or we'll just leave that to the links, or what do you think?
Yeah, so we'll put links in there for a couple of good books, some that I've started with, and many other handlers have started with. And really it's very important, before you even go out and get a SAR dog, get a book and read about it and understand what level of commitment you're getting into. They're high energy dogs. It is a lifestyle commitment that you're making to have one of these dogs. And then, so there's books, and then certainly getting out and into your local search and rescue group and talking to them. Not all search and rescue groups have canine teams, so you might have to search around in your area for the closest one, but
sure.
That's going to be your first start, because that's, again, like I said at the beginning, that's where you need to start as an individual.
Yeah, that's really helpful. And so if one selects the right kind of dog, the puppy that's showing the right kind of attributes, and one invests a lot of time and gets the right resources and the right support to train, is success really guaranteed? Will every kind of promising dog become operational and successful?
No, certainly not. In fact, actually, Mia and I almost washed out the year before we went operational. She just she hit a point where she was not working and just not wanting to do the job, and you have to work the dog that you have, and so if they don't want to work, they don't want to work.
Okay.
And we run into that a lot, and so we kept with it. We kept trying to make sure, just kept following her lead and what she was telling us, and then turned out that it was, basically up the leash, because that's usually where the problems start, is with the handler.
Okay.
So
fair enough.
my nervousness created nervousness for her, and as soon as my confidence was regained and I stopped being so nervous, her confidence came back, and then we went operational the following year.
Awesome.
Yeah,
and you both have been super successful, and Alicia and her dog have found several very vulnerable, critical adults in our region here that I don't think probably would have survived the night had they not been found. So I think it kind of comes back to, while there is a lot of investment, there is, for the right person with the right dog who's really willing to put that investment in, there can be the opportunity to be involved with some things that are really meaningful and really rewarding, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And certainly, many search and rescue teams have venues for people to contribute without a dog. I think most teams are always looking for really committed people who are fit, who want to be outside, they want to serve, they want to learn. So that's certainly a venue there. That's great. Super. Well, you know, if you are interested in getting involved in search and rescue, at Base Medical on our website, we have a lot of resources, not just for search and rescue training, but also for wilderness first aid and advanced wilderness medical training. So you can check some of that out in the links below this video. Thanks for checking out this video. Please, if you found this useful, give us a like, give us a subscribe, maybe make a comment if you found this helpful. It does help us drive traffic and kind of grow the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tim Durkin for the Base Medical team. Thanks so much, Alicia.
Thanks, Tim. I appreciate it.
Great.